I just wanted to put a short video together about water testing, about collecting water and doing the actual test and what we test for and why we test for and everything. I've got everything else in detail, like about 5 pages that you can also go through, but we'll start off just by doing this video. When you're collecting a water sample, you have to go deep into the water because on the top of the water there's a whole lot of gases and everything that are emitted because of all the chemicals in the water and everything, so you have to go deep down. Always make sure, I know you're using a syringe, but always just rinse it out first because you never know what could be in there, or there could be water from the other spa or anything. And all these little things really make a difference on how the test comes out. Alright, we're testing first the chlorine. Now, the total chlorine isn't always tested, as in it should be, but it's not always done at Seaford. There's 3 parts with chlorine. There's the free chlorine, which in the book at Seaford is just written down as chlorine, CHL. And then there's the total chlorine. That total chlorine doesn't always get tested, and it should be. The difference between the free and the total, as you see here, the free chlorine is 185, the total is 3.1. If you take 185 from that 3.1, you're left with a combined chlorine, which is 1.25. That combined chlorine by law has to be below 1 at least once during the day. That combined chlorine is the shit that's left over. The free chlorine is the chlorine that is active in the spa that can do its job. That needs to be between 1 and 9 legally. The total chlorine you have to test for so that you can get the combined number. If that total chlorine comes up as high, that's saying that it's over 10 parts per million. The test can't pick it up. The combined chlorine is the chlorine that's done its job. So you've got the free chlorine that's available in the pool to do its job and kill the bacteria. The combined chlorine has already done that, and that's all the crap left at the bottom. The total chlorine is all of that together. That combined chlorine is the stuff that gives you red eyes, makes your skin itchy and all the rest of it. That has to be low, and it never is. That's another reason why it's good to be having the spa, the small spa at least inside, dumped a couple of times a week. Alright, so this is our water we got from before, our glass vial. By rights, and again, I know it doesn't get done, but you should be rinsing everything out with the test water, not with water out of the tap, because that's totally different. Everything should be rinsed out. So rinse the glass vial out. Fill it up to the line. The little stick you need to rinse off too. And DPD1 is the one that you put in first. Don't ever touch the tablets with your fingers. If you drop a tablet or whatever, get another tablet, because the oils and anything else on your fingers is going to alter the test. Always crush it up on a hard surface. We've been going through a million different glass vials because people stand up here and crash them. You're going to go right through, it's only thin glass. You have to do it on a hard surface. I swirl it around so that it all goes into the middle, and then just crush it up in the middle. The test kit is photosensitive. It works with light, so always make sure you clean the glass vial. Alright, so first of all you blank the water. We've chosen what we're testing for. You put the plain water from the spa in first, and okay. And then it's saying insert sample, so that's the DPD1 water. Put him in. This one's actually got a little cover that you can put over because, as I say, it's light sensitive, so it's really important. Okay, and we get our number, which is 2.20. As I said, the free chlorine is supposed to be between 1 and 9 parts per million. Now, there's been some confusion with this next part. This same test that we've done with the DPD1, you add the DPD3 directly to this. You don't blank the test kit again or anything like that. Swirl it around, crush it up on a flat surface. Make sure you wipe everything off. And press it again. So you put the plain water in first and blanked it. Then you've done the DPD1 and got your number written down for that. Then you've added your DPD3 to the same water, and then you test again. Now I've got another number which is 3.30. So 3.30 minus 2.20 is 1.10. Now that number, at least once during the day, is supposed to be below 1. Ours gets up very, very high, and that's the bad stuff, and that's when we end up dumping the water. The only way to fix that otherwise is to do a superchlorination. The only way to get rid of the combined chlorine is to do a super, which is what we do here at the pool once a term. And because it's getting towards the end of the term, that's why the combined is getting a little bit higher. That's another reason why in the larger spa, which has been talked about a bit, that I always put 300 mils of chlorine in the larger spa. Number one, it's not getting used as often, and I take that opportunity to do like a mini superchlorination. If that outdoor spa was getting used, there is no way you put that amount of chlorine, and you probably do about 150. All right, but if, for say on a Tuesday, the outdoor spa is not getting used at all, we do the one test at lunchtime, and then nothing's happening to it for another 24 hours. So that chlorine is eventually going to go down over time anyway. Yeah, but putting 300 ml in is going to help get rid of the combined chlorine. All right, now with the pH needs to be between 7.2 and 7.6, I think it is. Same thing, I'm going to put our tablet in. Make sure you don't touch the tablet with your fingers. Crush the tablet up. It's even more important with the pH tablet not to touch the tablet. Now with the kit that you've got, you would have to blank it again. I don't have to blank it again on this kit, I just blank it once. But you would put in your plain test water again, choose pH, blank it, and then put in the tablet. I am going to choose what we're doing. We're doing pH, insert sample, and I have got a number of 7.65, which is a little bit on the higher scale. We're a bit different. We use CO2 to regulate our pH instead of hydrochloric acid, and it doses automatically. So you would add acid to bring the pH down. pH is naturally going to keep going up. If it was over 8, you'd probably add about 4 teaspoons of acid. When there's people in the water, never add any more than that. If the water's getting used and the pH is a little bit high, well, you just have to manage it the best you can. You can't go adding any more than about 4 teaspoons of acid. Something like that, 7.65, I'd probably put in 2 teaspoons of acid to bring it down. You can put the chlorine and the acid into the water. That's okay. It's getting dispersed into a large volume of water and it's getting watered down. You can't mix chlorine and acid together. That makes mustard gas. That's why the acid has to be stored separately to where the chlorine is. Alright, the last test is the alkalinity. We've got our alkalinity tablet in, swirl it around, crush it up, make sure it's done on a hard surface and you haven't touched the pill with your fingers. Make sure you wipe the vial and you would choose on your kit TA, which is total alkalinity. And I haven't. Oh, there it is, total alkalinity. Insert the sample, okay. I've got a number of 80, which is very good. The alkalinity should be between 60 and 120. The alkalinity isn't as important, don't stress about it too much. The alkalinity at Seaford is normally really low, normally about 20 or 30. There is the odd time, and I don't know why it's doing it, but the odd time it jumps right up to 100. Now that's still in good range, I don't know why it's doing that. It's a small volume of water, especially that indoor spa, and it is really, really difficult to manage. I get that. If you have a big bather load, like on Monday nights or something, you need to dump the water. It's the easiest way to fix it up, and water's not that expensive. If the chlorine is mega high, there is a product there called sodium thiosulfate, which we haven't used yet. Sodium thiosulfate is not a dangerous chemical. We call them magic crystals as well. They're tiny little crystals. You can mix it with hot water first to help it dissolve, or you can just throw it in. But if your free chlorine from your DPD tablet, if that's coming up as high, again, that's over 10 parts per million. That would make bathers bleached and all the rest of it. You can throw in some thio to bring the chlorine down. And another thing too is that you can't add anything to the water. It is illegal to add anything to the water while there are people in there. We've got little signs that say spa closed, and it only takes a couple of minutes to disperse. Alright, you've got to get people out of the water, wait till they're right out of the water, not with half a leg in. Wait till they're right out of the water, throw the stuff in, and by the time you go off, put your stuff away and everything. You can come back 2 minutes later, that's all it needs. Just to go in and just disperse. Only needs a couple of minutes. Just say, excuse me, I've got to throw some stuff in the water and you jump out. One other thing I'd like to say is, how hard is it to test everything? You've got everything set up and you're doing all the tests. As I said before, the total chlorine isn't always tested, and that needs to be tested. I know the alkalinity only has to be tested once a day, but how hard is it to throw that in as well and get a bigger picture of everything that's going on with water? It's just one more test. Another really important thing is that anytime anything is done to the water, it has to be recorded. There's been times that I've come in and I thought, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And I've spoken to a few people and they've said, oh yeah, we did this, we did that. Someone put a quarter of a cup of bicarb in the water and it ended up after a couple of days, we just had to dump it because the pH was through the roof and the alkalinity was through the roof. It just kept saying high, high, high. And you can't put too much acid in when you've got people in the water. So anytime anything is done to the water, it has to be recorded. Even if you just top it up a couple of inches, add on the book that you've topped the water up a little bit. That's going to change things, especially in such a small volume of water. The filters need to be soaked and changed often.